Well, it sounds completely bizarre to say given the circumstances now, but about 10 minutes ago, I was about to come in here and talk about how we've just dropped 2 points, and now 10 minutes later, I'm going to be here celebrating the fact that we have got a point because Matthias de Ligt has scored a last-second equaliser for Manchester United, and it is a 2-2 draw with Tottenham, but I stand by what my original point was going to be, which is I do feel like that was 2 points dropped because over the balance of the game, I think Manchester United should have won that match, and I'm very disappointed by the fact that we have conceded those 2 late goals, but massive credit to the team that with 10 men, they've gone again, they've created a chance, they've got a corner, the goalkeeper's gone up, and thank goodness that he did, by the way, because that's occupied an extra player, which has allowed de Ligt that space to score that goal, and something we don't see enough from Manchester United over the course of the last few years. They have gone on and got a late goal, which has ended up in them getting a result. So, in that regard, I am very, very happy, but again, I reiterate, I am very disappointed that we've not come away with the victory there because I honestly feel like we did enough to win that football match. It was just certain decisions by the manager in regards to players that were brought on and the performances of the players that were brought on that ultimately ended up in that game slipping away from us. And obviously one of them was enforced with Harry Maguire having to go off with a reoccurrence of whatever his injury has been over the last few weeks. But the one that's really disappointed me today, and ultimately is probably the man that's going to get the most slack for the fact that we've not won this game, is Benjamin Sesko. And I am going to talk about him. And I know I don't single out players too much on this channel, but for me today, Sesko has really, really, really let the side down. And his performance, after a week where he's been called out publicly by certain former Manchester United players for his performances so far, it is a shame to see the level of performance we got from him today, especially considering he was coming on in a situation where we were winning. We needed him to come on and be that hold-up player just to soak up some of the pressure when we get the ball out from the back. And he didn't look sharp today. Now, I don't know if he was carrying an injury in the first place. It looks like he's gone off with some sort of either muscular or injury around his knee, something like that. I don't know what it was as to why he didn't start today, although to be fair, I probably wouldn't have started him today anyway. But he just never looked at the races. And if you actually look at the balance of the game, it really turned in and around that 60th minute mark when Sesko came on. And it just didn't really offer anything in the entire match. Every time the ball went near him, he just didn't seem awake. Balls were rolling past him. He was never in the right spot. They kept trying to link up with him and he just was never in the right position. And we kept losing the ball basically every time we tried to get Sesko into the game, other than the odd long ball upfield, which of course he did really well a few weeks ago against whoever it was when we were playing on. Was it Liverpool? I can't remember. No, it wasn't Liverpool. It was the game before Liverpool. We've played a lot of games recently. But when he's a target man, might have been the Chelsea game, when he was the target man, he was doing that job okay, but in terms of linking up play, in terms of the ball being fed into him, he was just constantly either just not getting to the ball in the first place or giving it away when the ball got to him. And unfortunately, that is where Tottenham's equaliser actually ends up coming from. We're playing the ball around, we look for the ball into Sesko, and for like the 10th time in the 20 minutes he'd been on the pitch, he wasn't alert to that ball. The ball trickles past him, and Tottenham allow the ball to move forward. The ball goes out wide. Maybe Ugarte could have done a little bit better in terms of closing down Odobert. Ball goes out wide. Ball comes into the box. It's brilliant from Tel. I've got to say that. I thought it was really good from Tel. You can't put any blame on de Ligt in regards to this goal. It's a brilliant touch, a brilliant finish, and unfortunately for de Ligt, he toes it past Lamens. Although, to be fair, I don't think if de Ligt got that touch, I think Tel is scoring it in the bottom corner anyway. It'd be a really, really good save from Lamens to stop that shot, so I'm not going to take anything away from de Ligt. However, I do also think if it wasn't for that Maguire injury and de Ligt was still the one out wide, I don't think that cross would have got in the first place. And even if it did, I think Maguire would have been a lot tighter and a lot more physical on Tel, and the goal still wouldn't have happened. So it's unfortunate from our perspective that Maguire had to go off, but it all starts with Sesko giving the ball away. Then he compounds that issue by missing the chance and getting injured just a couple of minutes later. The one good thing he does is he actually creates the chances initially. Like I said, that long ball, he gets it, he flicks it onto Mount. Brilliant from Mason Mount. He sees Mbuemo outside, the ball, everyone gets drawn away, Sesko peels away, little reverse from Mount, and he's in. I stand up, arms in the air, just don't miss. You know, like, hit the target. You know what I mean? Hit the target, score the goal. If you miss, we're going to be disappointed, but you've got to at least get your shot off in this position. And to sort of sum up his performance and how off it he was, that first touch is absolutely shocking. It is shocking. He is a right-footed player. He tries to take it in his stride, but when he takes it, he drags it over to the left. He doesn't push it through, and you think it's Van de Ven that's covering, so you know he's coming. You look at the goal that Haaland scored last week, where he picks the ball up on his left foot, and he drives across the defender. Because Sesko's touch is so poor, the ball goes away from him, which allows Van de Ven to get back in front of him. There is no closure across, because it's twofold. One, you stop the defender getting back, and two, you're on your strong foot for the finish. But the first touch is so poor, it allows Van de Ven to get back, and then when Van de Ven makes the challenge, he injures himself in the incident as well, leaving us down to 10 men going into stoppage time, and then Spurs score again. I'm not going to complain about the second goal, it's just a really good goal. Maybe you could defend the corner a little bit better, but we clear the ball out, it comes back in, and it's just brilliant from Richarlison. Like, you're not going to concede many goals like that in an entire season, let alone in an individual match. The shot from Oliveira is going wide, and Richarlison somehow guides it perfectly in that corner. And unfortunately, there is going to be a spare man, because we're down to 10 men, because Sesko's gone off the pitch. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm so happy that the players got together, went again, created that chance, and got the equaliser. Because, you know, I hate talking about deserve. I never really like talking about deserve. You get what you deserve in football. And ultimately, we've created that chance. We've got the equaliser, and we've drawn 2-2. Which is still disappointing, but it's still something to celebrate. Because, again, we have been so poor in regards to showing that mental strength over recent years to actually come together when it's gone against us today, to pull themselves out of it and get themselves a draw is a really good result. And also, I do want to talk about the first 60 minutes of the match, because I thought, again, we played really well and a lot of good performances, and now going to sort of dissipate because of what's happened in those last 10 minutes. I thought Ahmad was outstanding. I thought Mbeumo was outstanding. The link up between them for the goal was incredible. I mean, the whole goal as a whole was brilliant. Everything from it. The ball comes in, it comes back out. It gets headed out to the edge of the area, fed into Cunha, spun round the corner. Brilliant overlapping run from Mazraoui to drag the defender away. Ahmad's cross is so good. You think about the height that Spurs have got in their team with Romero and Van de Ven, and Palinha was in there, and Papsar was in there. They had a lot of big physical players in that penalty area when that cross came in. And Ahmad picked out Mbeumo inch perfectly. And the header, to just guide it, like, there's no power in it. He's just perfectly placed that header into the far corner. Brilliant goal from Manchester United. And the link-up play around the midfield was really good. I thought Casemiro played brilliantly against there. I thought Bruno looked good in midfield again. I think the decision to go back to Mazraoui and Dorgu was absolutely key to how well we played today. And it's a shame that both of those players went off. And if you actually look at the state of play, come the full-time whistle, we end it with Ahmad and Dalot as the right wing-back and left wing-back again. And shock horror, we've conceded 2 goals in that time. With Mazraoui on the right and Dorgu on the left, we looked so much better, and I really hope that Amarin has that bravery to now stick with those two as the main two coming out of the international break, because we just look so much better with the right footer on the right and the left footer on the left. I know Ahmad plays well when he plays in that position, but I can't stand Dalot on the left-hand side. And I just think that balance it provides, the extra width you can have by having Mazraoui on one side and Dorgu on the other side, made it really hard for Spurs to break us down, but made us look really good going forward as well. So that's why I'm disappointed we've not won the game today, because I thought for those first 60 minutes we were absolutely brilliant, but unfortunately Mazraoui going off made us worse. Sesko coming on in that same situation made us worse. Dorgu coming off for Dalot made us worse. Casemiro coming off for Ugarte made us worse. And in terms of how we actually defended the game, Maguire's injury forcing Yoro to come on did in fact make us worse. I'm not having a go at Yoro. I don't think he did anything wrong after he came on. But the actual way we defended the game became a little bit harder once Maguire came off. So, all in all, I'm fully mixed emotions. I'm very happy they've got themselves together and pulled out a draw from the position they were in after Richarlison got the goal that put Spurs ahead in stoppage time. But at the same time, I'm very disappointed that we've not come away with all 3 points, considering how good we were in the first half. Bizarre set of circumstances, really, isn't it? I sat here last week talking about how we were very lucky to get a point against Nottingham Forest, and now I'm sat here disappointed we've only got a point against Spurs, when arguably we were equally as lucky given what happened in those last 10 minutes. But that is football. Ultimately, we've made it through this spell between the 2 international breaks, having to play against Liverpool, Brighton, Forest and Spurs. And we've got through those 4 games unbeaten, including 3 really tough away games. So I'm actually really happy with how we've done over this little period. In theory, we've got some easier games coming up after the international break, so hopefully we can start putting some wins together after the performance we put in today. As always, let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon.